Alright, here we go. So, friendly reminder. You have no vocab this week at all. Index cards are due today. However, you had no vocab for the rest of this week. You need to have your Barron's book. It is due on March 29th, which is coming up here very quickly. What?
What edition is that?
Oh, I don't care. 7th or 8th works. I don't care. Everyone needs to have a Barron's book. It's due here on March 29th. Make sure you have it. You also have your AP mock exam schedule, so please keep in mind that your exams are on April 7th and April 28th. Please make sure you're doing whatever it takes to be there. What? Talk to Braun. And yes. Well, he's your coach. You see him like 6 days a week. So. No, I'm not your mother, but I will speak to him. Thank you, Gabriel. So, please make sure that you are making the necessary plans to be there. I'll be starting to post alternative dates here shortly. So, on last week we got a lot done. Today we're going through disorders. Did we get to GAD?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Did you see
GAD girl?
We
Didn't finish it? Okay, so I do want you to watch the end of my GAD girl, who is obsessed with Glee, yeah. And she's in every single piece of every stereotypical high school girl. Can we agree? Now, number 9 is where you should be writing in what you're seeing and what she's telling you. Despite the fact that she's ridiculous, she actually does a pretty good job of explaining what it's like to be her. So I am going to start it again, so I hope you really enjoy it.
Thanks, Avery.
And you go.
You're like, what's GAD? And I'll be like, let me tell.
Oh, God. She's so much.
Hi, everybody. So if you know.
Stop. Yes, because I want you to answer number 9, talking about the effects of it. Please stop. The effects of anxiety disorders and how it builds on. You can talk about the suffering. You can talk about panic attacks, all that stuff. All right? Huh? Hold on. Gabriel first, and then Alice.
Do we have another video?
Yes, I have a bunch.
Yes.
No.
Wait, what was this fun application? Because I remember last time you said specific stuff. I just put GAD girl.
Anything from the video you could have written down. All right, here we go. Enjoy.
You probably know that I'm a really big fan of the TV show Glee. On it tonight, they're going to do a Born This Way thing. Like, you know the song by Lady Gaga? Everybody knows the song by Lady Gaga. And it's like, yeah, I was born this way. And it's like pride about who you are and la la la. And they're going to sing it on Glee tonight. And everybody has shirts. And they're about, it's something about themselves. But I really liked Emma's. Emma is the guidance counselor who's kind of, you know, she has OCD, and so her shirt says OCD, and I really like that, and I wanted it, but OCD, while I have it, isn't one of my biggest things, so I decided to make one out of my biggest thing that nobody understands what it is, and that is this, which is GAD. GAD stands for Generalized Anxiety Disorder, which is something I have really badly. A lot of people who are hopefully watching this know me in real life and go to school with me, and those people would know that a lot of the times I'm not there. And you know, I've gotten a lot of crap for that, and I get jokes like, haha, I think you're faking, which just really kind of bugs me. And it's not only because of the anxiety, a lot of it is actually because of my pain disorder. I have fibromyalgia, but one of the biggest things I have is generalized anxiety disorder, which is kind of what it sounds like. I'm going to try to explain it because many people, I assume, would hear the name of it and just think, oh, anxiety, well, I get that. It's everybody has that, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, I've heard about depression before. Like, well, everybody gets sad, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this. I woke up feeling like this. I get panic attacks a lot. People with generalized anxiety disorder can. You
can't be answering number 9.
I woke up this morning. And you know the feeling you get when you get in trouble? Whenever I get in trouble, I get this feeling. And my heart beats really quickly, and I can feel it through my entire body. And I almost feel it try to, like, escape through my throat, I guess you could say. I feel, like, pressure. And my whole chest really feels like this black hole, and everything's collapsing into it. And my lungs are just not capable of holding that much air. I try to breathe in slowly, I just, like, can't. It feels like I've been running or something. And then I get really, really hot. I'm really hot right now. I get this a lot. I mean, physically, it's not just an in-your-head thing. People are like, no, it's just in your head. I mean, the root might be, but you feel it everywhere, and it does not feel pleasant. A lot of physical, crappy stuff going on. And one of the worst parts of it is that you don't know where the hell it came from. You just get these inexplicable feelings of danger. You don't know why. Nothing happened specifically, necessarily. You're just terrified, and you don't know why. And one of the other big problems with that is that because you feel terrified, you go through your head what could be wrong, and then you find things, and then you get more freaked out. And a lot of the times people with all kinds of anxiety disorders, including OCD and phobias and stuff, we know that it's totally irrational. We know that our fears and all of that are we know that they make no sense. We know that whatever we're afraid of isn't going to hurt us or whatever, but it's the physical feelings that we cannot change. Really, I think that the biggest fear that a person with an anxiety disorder has is fear itself, in the form of a panic attack. I do everything I can not to get them. Really,
she does a nice job. You just got to get through the awkward parts.
For the episode tonight, and hopefully I'll walk around school tomorrow whenever I get to go next, which will hopefully be very soon. And people will be like, "What's GAD?" And I'll be like, "Let me tell you." And hopefully they'll understand. I also want to do this kind of to kick off a series where I'm going to talk about this kind of...
No, we are done.
Do you watch all of the series?
No.
Did you like and subscribe and turn on post notifications?
No, I did not even, I don't even know if I liked her video. I just downloaded it. Because she does a nice job of explaining all of the symptoms of it and how it works, how it affects. Imagine, with generalized anxiety disorder, you're going to feel that feeling of dread. What is the problem, T? What's the problem, T?
Nothing, just schizophrenia.
Yes, I know. That's all next week, my darling.
What?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks. Today we're going to see some people, like,
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is next week still next week off?
well, yeah, but the week after.
Are we doing the
So, that's next week, too. So, when we talk about generalized anxiety disorder, we did write it in the box, correct? If we started the video? Perfect. So, when we talk about generalized anxiety disorder, please keep in mind that it is up to 3 months of that continuing dread, that feeling of getting in trouble. All of you know what it feels like to get caught cheating or caught in that feeling of just complete dread. Yes? Imagine having that for 3 months straight with no cause. How awful that would be and how exhausting that would be. And that's what anxiety disorders are. So causes of anxiety disorders, I don't think you have to write it down. You may have some room. You're going to write down a couple of things here in a second, but not yet. So psychoanalytic, of course, is going to see all this stuff as internalized or repressed urges and desires that are now presenting itself. Your behaviorists are going to say this is learned behavior. Your cognitive psychologist, which is where you're going to want to write this down on your study guide, by the way. Now, cognitive psychologists believe that excess anxiety comes from illogical rational thinking processes, and these are exacerbated by things called magnification, which is on your study guide. Is it? Oh, yeah, it's cognitive model. Then you have a thing called all or nothing. It's on your study guide, people.
Is it though?
It's underneath generalized anxiety disorder. Magnification, all or nothing. Is it, Gabriel?
How's that?
So, when we talk about magnification, these are people who make every detail bigger than it has to be. Like, everything is life or death. Do you know anyone like that? Who magnifies everything, like they stub their toe and now all of a sudden they're not going to college and their life is spiraling out of control and they're just not going to find any happiness or joy. Like, for instance, last year I caught a kid cheating, and she said that she was no longer able to get accepted into colleges and that she was probably going to be living on the street by the age of 22. And she was like straight faced to it, and I started laughing. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." She's like, "No, like you're gonna report this to college, and colleges won't accept me." And like, I was like, "Well, then why the hell would you do it? If this is really what you thought, A, can we agree? What an idiot!" But I was like, "No, all or nothing." Now, if I write you a referral like I did last week for a girl cheating,
You're a pro.
Huh?
You're a pro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you went
First
all
one in
out.
like 4 years.
You went all out.
Oh, I was pissed.
Why
When
would-
you turn in flatly as someone else's assignment and you barely erase their name,
I heard about that.
retribution.
I saw her.
You must have heard of it once.
Really? Grace Carter.
My friend turned in
She was very
a homework
gentle.
with someone else's name.
Not gonna lie, Miss Ben. I was
The
gonna do that
retribution was funny.
with like with someone else that was gonna take your class.
Yeah?
But I heard that. So
Then I'll be happy to write your referral.
Wait, did you write the girl that gave it?
I got the whole,
Yeah, when
I got
first
all the
came in,
paperwork
you, like,
done.
You got
ranted
all
about
of it?
cheating.
All the paperwork. Huh?
When I came in and you like ranted about cheating, I was like, well, no cheating in this class.
Yep.
Wait,
Well,
Miss Bennett,
I'll be happy to start writing you some paperwork if you
Was
like.
it the one who gave the paper or the one who used
Girl, I got paperwork everywhere.
What's that?
Everywhere. So, all or nothing is the tendency to believe that one's performance must be perfect or result in total failure. Every year, I have a couple of these kids, and they drive me insane because it comes to the end of the quarter, and there's a bunch of zeros, and I'm like, well, let me see your binder, and there's like assignments that are 3/4 done, but they're like, Bennett, you can't have it, it's not finished. When the hell are you going to complete it? Deadline is today. And it just drives me wild.
Are you talking about?
Drives me wild. I just can't help it.
So is that like if you went first, you're last?
No,
Like rookie box?
no,
No?
Are you talking about Zach?
no, sweetie. I would never specifically mention. Think internally, please. What?
Second, like the abstinence of constantly sacrificing people.
Oh my God, T, I just can't right now. I just can't. I just can't. Overgeneralization is the tendency to interpret a single negative event as a never-ending pattern. For instance, last week, some girl was crying. Not because it was my fault, by the way. I had plenty of that, but this was not my fault. I know. I met Max's mom with 2 women walking out of my room in tears. I was like, God, your mother must think
Wait,
I'm a
you made
monster.
a mother cry?
Not just my brothers.
She said
Wait, a
2 girls. She
mother?
said 2 girls. You made a mother cry?
No.
Yes, you did. What happened?
Anyway,
It's not just the moms that think.
I know, but I think your mom liked me, Max, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. Max, it didn't sound genuine. Okay, good. All right, so overgeneralization. A girl was crying last week because her boyfriend broke up with her.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to high school.
That's too old.
And the girl was like, oh my God, I'm never going to find love. This is always going to happen to me. I think I found the right guy, and then they're always just going to break up with me. It went into this like spiraling pattern. I was like, gee, this is too much. This is too much. You know, like stressed me out. She was just like, you know, this always happens to me. She's like 16, by the way. This always happens to me. I fall in love, and I commit myself, and then it's over.
That's not
You're
really-
16. Jesus.
How many times does that have to happen to say like it's always happened to me?
Makes me just like have
Twice.
a hard on her sleeve.
I know, jeez.
Yeah.
All right, minimization is a tendency to give little or no importance to positive events. This is me to a T. Anything positive, like if I, you know, have whatever occur, if it's positive, I'm like, yeah, it's fine, who cares? But anything negative, have you noticed I'm a little dramatic?
Yeah.
Yes.
That if I am slightly sick, I'm clearly dying of some disease no one knows. Okay, that would be minimization. What, Nico?
Is that biological explanation?
Yeah.
Biological?
Yeah, it's anxiety disorders caused by a chemical imbalance. All right, we're ready to get to somatoform disorder. I have a cute little Aussie girl who can't walk. You want to meet her?
Wait, is this the girl that can run but can't walk?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
Oh,
Oh God, I've seen this one.
Wait, what?
There's memes of her. Yeah, I know.
Running with her
There's, like,
hands?
Wait,
do this thing.
I didn't
Oh,
know
no. She's not walking on her hands.
No, she can run but she can't walk.
How's that?
When
You
she
have to
stops,
watch
she
the
starts
video.
convulsing.
There we go. No, I don't have that video, T. It seems non-academic at all. What?
Please.
Yes. Like, do this thing. No.
Wait.
Hold on.
What? Where was biology?
Yeah.
Where was
All right, here we go. So somatoform disorder. You're going to want to hear this, and you're definitely going to want to write it down. So somatoform disorder is a disorder that take that the form somatoform disorders are disorders that take the form of a bodily illness and the symptoms, but for the which there are no physical cause. So in the application box, I would write There is no reason for it physically. There is no reason for it physically. So these people literally can't walk. They cannot walk. And doctors are like, yeah, bro, I don't know. All the discs are in place, everything, all the joints work fine. You're young, you shouldn't be having this problem. What do you got, Morgan?
His name is psoriasis.
No, we're getting there.
Wait, what
Alright.
type of disorder?
There's two major ones. So they're also called psychosomatic disorder, which is the new term that we use. So psycho means what?
Crazy?
No, it means mind.
Psyche.
When we are dealing with psychosomatic disorders, they're when physical stress can cause, psychological stress can cause physical disorders to occur. You're going to see here in a few minutes. It's really kind of crazy. It's really crazy. There's no reason for these things to be happening, and that's the crazy thing. There is no reason why this young Australian chick can't walk. Her language is slurred, everything. She cannot speak, she cannot write, she cannot walk, and there's no reason for it. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. What do you got?
Is it the same thing?
It's the newer term. All right, and then you have psychophysiological disorder, which is the one we use the most. We like these. And this is all about there's something physically happening, but there's for no cause for it. Isn't that crazy? So, hypochondriasis, you all have heard of it before. Hypochondriasis is a somatoform disorder where people think there's something physically wrong with them, so they keep going to the doctor, and then the doctor says there's nothing wrong with you, stop coming in, and then they go to a different doctor. We call them what?
Crazy.
Hypochondriacs, which is short for hypochondriasis. Hypochondriasis is the disorder. A person who suffers from hypochondriasis is a hypochondriac. Okay, so these people, it's not like, for instance, if Ella came in yesterday and said on Friday and said I have a cold, and then I got a little sniffle, I'd say, oh my God, I have a cold. Ella gave me a cold, which she did. I'm just saying a couple weeks ago, it's fine. I'm pretending like it didn't happen. Anyway, so Ella has sickness. I think I have it. I go to a doctor, and I'm like, hey, I have a brain tumor. Ella has a brain tumor. I have a brain tumor. And the doctor's like, oh my God, we should check this out. They put me under an MRI. They check my brain. They're like, you don't have a brain tumor. I'm like, you are fake news. You are fake news. So then I go to a different doctor, Max, and then at that doctor, I'm like, I have a brain tumor. And they're like, oh my God, we got to check this out. So they put me under an MRI too, and they're like, nope, you don't have a brain tumor. And I'm like, fake news, fake news. And then I go to a third doctor, and I'm like, dude, I got a brain tumor, son. And he's like, oh my God, let's go check this out. So they put me under an MRI, and he's like, you don't have a brain tumor. I'm like, fake news. I go through 20-something doctors.
It's a lot of MRIs.
It's a lot of MRIs. This is why healthcare is so expensive. You're welcome. Okay, so that's hypochondriasis. Is everyone good? Cool. All right. So somatization disorder is when it's a somatoform disorder in which a person dramatically complains of a specific symptom, such as nausea, difficulty swallowing, or pain for which there is no physical cause. Okay, in your application box, please write this. This is life or death symptoms. Because conversion disorder is a little different.
So are they experiencing this symptom? Or are they just like...
Yeah, literally. You're like, oh my God, I'm choking, I'm choking. You go to the hospital and you're like, oh my God, I'm choking. And then the hospital sticks the little tube down there and like, there's nothing here, it's perfectly clear. But you can't catch a breath, you can't do any of that. Like, you're nauseous for no reason. It would be absolutely terrible. What?
You are your own one.
And then you have one called conversion disorder, which I have a couple of videos for you, and I'm going to show you here in a second. So, conversion disorder is a somatoform disorder in which the person experiences specific symptoms such as paralysis, numbness, or blindness. So these are all of your somatic nervous system. So incredible pain, all that stuff. Paralysis, can you imagine? And like you go to the doctor, you can't walk, and you're like, the doctor's like, there's nothing wrong with you. And you're like, I literally can't walk. It takes years and years and years to diagnose because people think people are making it up. You ready to meet my little Aussie?
Sure.
I could literally fall asleep right here.
That's okay. Are these the only somatic ones?
Yes, ma'am. Alright. Let's meet my Aussie chick. I don't want Leah. I want the other one. Collies. Yeah.
A bizarre and extremely rare condition that strikes down otherwise healthy young people like Holly Longford and can leave them unable to walk or talk. It has doctors baffled because physically the patients have nothing wrong with them. Lucy Polkinghorne explains.
I rely on everyone to help me get food, get change, help drown myself out of the fact because I can't do it.
Very frightening. You just see your child go from a perfectly active teenager to not being able to walk, not being able to talk.
It's very hard, I think, for people to understand, for laymen, for anyone to really understand how it can be that patients can present with such significant, overwhelming symptoms when there's no physical cause.
Incredibly, doctors say there shouldn't be anything wrong with Adelaide teenager Holly Longford.
I was spasming out of control and I couldn't stand or walk. I started to lose my speech.
Her world was turned upside down 14 months ago after a collision while playing netball.
And I came off the court
Is that
crying because my back was in so much pain. And then the days progressed.
It's not
Okay, we'll deal with that later.
It got worse.
She saw chiropractors, physios and doctors, but no one could help.
I got admitted to another doctor and then he put me on fluoxetine and I had a reaction to it. So it sent my body off into a spasming seizure sort of thing, not being able to stop, and I couldn't walk at all.
She spent 2 weeks in hospital learning how to walk again. And despite
Guys,
countless
keep in mind, there's
tests
nothing
and
wrong
scans,
with her.
doctors couldn't find
according to the
anything
doctor,
physically
she's
wrong.
perfectly healthy.
For her mum, Wendy, the unknown was frightening.
You just see your little girl deteriorate and they can't find anything. And I suppose that's the hard thing as a parent. You don't want to believe it's a psychological issue either because you think, I can't fix that.
No one really understood it as well. They just thought it was like just a freak case and like almost a miracle that I recovered so quick.
But not for long. The spasming in the legs returned and she was readmitted to hospital. And that's when she was diagnosed with the mysterious conversion disorder.
Conversion disorder is a disorder where patients present with signs and symptoms of a neurological illness, such as having had a stroke or a seizure of some description, but where there's no actual underlying physical illness. Instead, it's the body's response to some underlying stress.
While it seems unbelievable, Dr. Andrew Court from the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne says it's very real and illustrates the power of the mind over the body.
These symptoms are unconscious, they're not fabricated, they're not made up.
15-year-old Yana Tanska understands all too well. She's had the condition for 4 months. Hers was also triggered by back pain.
Some days I don't understand it, but like I understand what's happening, but you still want to have a specific cause from it, like not just psychological, because it doesn't sound right.
Health experts say little is known about the disorder and what triggers it. It can only be explained by psychological stress. But for Yana and Holly, two happy and healthy teens, it doesn't make sense.
It's your body's way of just saying it can't cope with stuff going on with your life.
I have no idea what it could have set it off. Because at that time I was normal, I was happy, I was going out every weekend, going to parties and seeing friends.
Parties.
While the symptoms aren't permanent, there's no quick or known cure, and there's always a chance it could return.
A rehabilitation program. It's a returning or retraining the body to
Keep in
function
mind,
normally.
there's
Its main
nothing
goal
wrong
is
with them.
to
Isn't that
help
scary?
try and
And they
work out what
just,
the underlying
one of them got hit,
psychological
and the
distress
other
is,
one,
and be able to manage it.
you
and
know,
deal
she
with
just had back pain,
Nothing
and then
seems to
they
be
can't
helping,
control it.
so it's just hopefully time.
I will get better because I'm determined to.
So that's conversion disorder, how it can present itself one way. This is how it can present itself another way. This one is a lot more graphic and will make you feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So wait, that was conversion?
Huh?
That was conversion?
Yeah, both of these are.
My name is Leah, and this is me. I've had conversion disorder for just about 4 years now, and continue to fight this battle every day. What you are seeing are video clips of me having symptoms during a normal day. With conversion disorder, I convert my stress into physical symptoms, classifying it as an anxiety-based neuropsychiatric illness. I have intense physical movements that some have stated can be controlled because it is, quote, all in my head. But I'm here to tell you that statement is not true. It is not faked nor controllable. I wish it was that simple. Conversion disorder is based out of our subconscious mind, and we don't have control over our subconscious, so how are we supposed to control our bodies? When you break an arm, you seek medical treatment. For people with a mental illness, such as conversion disorder, it is the same thing. It is not our fault that we are mentally ill. It simply means that something in our brain is malfunctioning and we need medical treatment to fight the symptoms. What you are watching is not the only symptoms you can have with conversion disorder. You can have paralysis, tremors, tingling sensations, and a difficulty with speech, just to name a few. The list of symptoms can go on and are confusing to most trying to diagnose this disorder. The Conversion Disorder Foundation is here to support those affected directly and indirectly with conversion disorder. We are here to provide the tools necessary to heal, educate society, and raise awareness for those affected by this illness. At conversiondisorder.ca, we hope to raise the funds for research, while serving as a resource for patient treatment and striving to enhance their quality of life. We want to provide a safe place for the...
What do you think?
Awful. It's terrible.
Can you imagine? Literally, she has no control over her body. And no one knows why. All they can say is it's a psychological way your brain is coping with some sort of stressor.
So was that learned helplessness when you said that it's not psychological, but is it actually mental?
No, I mean, I think you could say there would be a lot of frustration with it. I mean, she can't leave her house. It's not really learned helplessness because that's conditioned behavior. That would mean that she's making the choice to do this over and over again.
No, not making the choice. You said like she doesn't believe that she can do it, so she's just like, okay, I'm just gonna have this forever, so I'm just gonna like not.
Oh, I mean, it's hard for her to believe that there's an end in sight because they don't know exactly what's causing it, so you can't come up with a solution if you don't know exactly what's causing it. They say it's psychological, right? But that doesn't say exactly what part of your brain is malfunctioning because of it. Does that make sense? There you go. So, what do you got?
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, they don't like something they can see in the brain, like the brain scan.
Yeah, don't they have like the brain scans that happen with movement?
What about what's those
Nothing
things called when you drill a hole in your brain? What's it? I just
A
wanna know.
lobotomy?
No. It was like, remember it was like week 2.
It was like removing a part of your
You burn a portion of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't do that.
Shouldn't they like take like an MRI while going through their thing?
Nope. They can't. Nothing.
Something about lasers.
They Can't think of the name of it either. So, when we're talking about it, it's pretty scary. Remember, all these people, this lady, she's like 30-something, right? She looked pretty old. She said she just got it 4 years ago. Okay, so that is what we're coming up against. Okay, so who knows? Schizophrenia, which we're coming up on next week, people don't get diagnosed until their mid-20s. Legions, there you go. All right, here we go. Psychoanalytic. It's they believe that somatoform disorders are caused by when anxiety is turned into a physical symptom. Behavioral believe this people use it to escape unpleasant situations. I think you would agree it's a pretty good distraction when you're banging your head on the carpet floor instead of having an uncomfortable conversation, but it seems pretty extreme, don't you think? Okay. Then you have cognitive, which believes people magnify their physical symptoms and normally bodily changes out of irrational fear. People make it worse on purpose. And there you go. All right. So on your focus, you're going to see on the very back page, you're going to see dissociative amnesia, dissociative fugue, dissociative identity disorder. Cross them off. That's next week's content. You can cross them right off.
All of them?
No, you dissociative, everything that says starts with dissociative. So, hypochondriasis, what type of disorder is it? Somatoform. So in that first block, write somatoform. Somatoization is what type of disorder? Oh my God, you guys are good. Look at you using your context clues. And conversion disorder is also.
What's the difference between abnormality and insanity?
Insanity is if you live all your rights because you can't control yourself.
And abnormality is that you do something a little bit different and you don't follow normal social cues.
What are the
Hold on, what do you got, Morgan?
What are the 5 questions in number 3 to see if the behavior is normal?
Which one? Number 3. So what is the definition? What are the 5 questions we asked? I don't know. Can I start with statistical definition and start there? Because tomorrow, I have time tomorrow. We're going to do whiteboards and I'm going to fill in whatever you need. Can I answer that question tomorrow? All right, perfect. So statistical definition is statistical definition. It's on the front page. Statistical definition is abnormal people are statistically uncommon with less than 3% of the population. Which means they're not commonly diagnosed.
Is this the same one on the filter? I mean, on the same guide?
I don't know. Is it on the study guide too? I would assume so.
Less than 3%?
Less than 3%. See ya.
Which means what?
Which means they're not typically diagnosed. What, darling?